Hi, this is Wendy at Change Agent Careers. Thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. We're going to be talking today about part 2 of the job search, or excuse me, the networking for job search series. Today the topic is my formula for a winning self-story. Now, last video we talked about your strategy when networking, and that was all about preparation, how to get ready for the event to make sure you're at the right event, how to measure your success at the event, and how to start the process of networking. Now that you're there, in theory of course, now that you're there, you want to have a great self-story. So having a self-story is critical because it does a couple of things. Number one, it shows that you're prepared. It shows that you've taken some time to think about it. And this is one that sometimes people don't think about. It simplifies something that could be really complicated, that maybe folks don't understand. And I've probably used this phrase in other videos, and that is a confused mind always says no. So if you do something that's really complicated or people don't understand, they may be apprehensive to show their hand and say, "What do you do? I've never heard of that before." Some people are adventurous and they're willing to ask that, but then there's others who may be a bit nervous and they think that they're supposed to know what that means or what your job title is. So a great way to tell a winning self-story is to make it really easy and make it simple. And sometimes I even encourage my clients to use analogies instead of saying I'm a project manager, right? Think about a different way to tell your story and describe what you do so that it's really easy for people to understand. Okay, so it shows professionalism. It shows that you've taken some time to think about it. Let me see, I want to look at my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, of course, this is the important one. You want to be memorable, right? You want to tell a story. You want to tell people what you do in a way that makes you stand out. Because frankly, you know, I don't know about you, but when I go to networking events, there's a lot of people there. That's how those events are deemed successful in the organizer's mind, is how many attendees actually show up. So that means that you're going to be meeting a lot of people. So how do you become memorable in the minds of the people that you meet? Sometimes it may be something physical about yourself. Maybe it's your voice. Maybe it's your story, right? I'd like to think because I'm talking about it, it's going to be your story. So having a winning self-story is a great way for people to remember you. When they remember you, that's always on your side, on your in your court and to your benefit. Okay, so let's talk about the formula. So the formula is, I'm going to walk through it, and then I'm going to talk about the formula, and then I'm going to be able to give you an example. So number one, you want to briefly describe what you're doing now, what your current role or position is, also keeping in mind how can you make it really simple and easy for folks to understand, and can you actually use an analogy. For instance, instead of telling folks that I'm a career coach, because people really don't understand what a career coach does, believe it or not, I'm accused of being a life coach more often than not. I describe myself, instead of saying I'm a career coach, I say I'm a personal trainer for your career. Because most people understand what a personal trainer does, believe it or not. A lot of people who don't have personal trainers know what a personal trainer does, and they get it instantly. So you state what your current role or position is, and if you use a description like that, then you can state what you're interested in positioning for, right? Let's say that you're looking for a promotion, or you are looking for a new role or a new job, and then the next part of the formula is then you transition into why you're looking for that role or that position. And then here's the most important part. So a lot of times what happens is you're going to say all this, and it almost seems like you have just verbally vomited all over the person that you're talking to. So an easy way to transition into stating what you do after you've stated your winning self-story is to ask them a question. And it could be any number of different things. So let me walk you through my story real quickly, and then how the question is used. So here's an example of one that I crafted with a client, and I'm going to read this so that I don't screw it up. So I apologize for reading, because adults don't need to be read to, just kids. I'm a client relationship manager. I like to call myself an intrapreneur because I innovate new systems that solve client problems without the risk of losing funding like a startup. My focus now is a similar type of a role in the pharmaceutical industry because my own personal background and experience in the healthcare field allows me to relate to doctors and nurses from the perspective of an actual patient. Here's the question. I'm trying to network with some folks at Endo Pharmaceuticals. Are you connected to anyone there that would be willing to introduce me? So there you have it. So that was, if you dissect that statement, go back and listen to the first few seconds of my description of the winning self-story formula, then listen to that description, you'll hear that there was the brief description of the current role or position, or the story, right? The description of what that person does, more analogous. I think that's right. I'm making up words as I go along. Then the transition into the current role, and then a description of why and what they're looking for, and then the question. Okay, so there you have the quick formula. You'll want to practice this, listen to it a couple of times, and then I have a few more tips here. Okay, so you want to use that question. The purpose of the question is to, again, give that person an opportunity to hook onto something and to give them the opportunity to be able to help you. Because hopefully, if you listened to my first video, you would have already started and engaged them in conversation. So now that you've gotten the icebreaker out of the way and you've been talking to them for a few minutes, now they are reciprocating, right? And they're asking you, what do you do? Or, you know, who are you and what are you looking for? Something along those lines. Now you're able to tell your quick story. So I hope that's been helpful for you. A couple other things. Remember that when you go to a networking event, you want to engage in quality conversations. So if you're engaged in a conversation that you really don't feel like is very beneficial to you or to the other person, it's okay to make a graceful exit. And on top of that, you want to not get stuck talking to one or two people all night long unless these are the people that you came there to meet. But you want to mingle and meet more people. You want to find a balance between quantity and quality. You want a little bit of both, right? Unless you really only had one goal or two goals and you met both of those goals very quickly, well then I would say up the game, girlfriend or boyfriend, and go back and revisit those goals and up your goals. So if you've achieved your goals, renegotiate them with yourself and do a little bit more. Again, have an expectant attitude. Make sure that you are going into the networking event with the expectation that it's going to be a success. And when you achieve that success early, don't stop. Keep upping the game. Keep getting yourself out there, because the more you network, the more you talk to people, the more you tell them your story, the more you get to know them, the more likely it is that you're going to create really valuable relationships that are going to lead to fruitful relationships. And on that note, make sure that if you do meet someone that's really highly valuable to your network, or that you could be of value to their network, make sure you follow up with them. Whatever you say you're going to do after a networking event, oh my gosh, make sure you do it. Follow through, follow up. Don't just meet those folks that evening. Make sure that you continue to build the relationship with them, deepen the relationship, because people are more willing to help you once they've gotten to know you, like you, and trust you. Okay, that's it for part 2 of Networking for Job Search. I hope you got some good nuggets from this video. If you're visiting my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you're on my website, please also subscribe to my email sign-up subscription list, and you'll receive a free gift. Thanks so much, and have a wildly successful day.